This is Danielle Moore with Teaching One More, and today we're here with Christine Teramoto, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. And today she's going to give us some tips on how we can support our students in our classrooms who might have behavioral problems, perhaps attention deficit disorder or other issues. So I'm really glad that she can be here and give us some tips on how we can best support our students. So hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm so glad that you could meet with me today. So as you know, teachers have a lot of different things they have to deal with in the classroom outside of academics. And one of the things that I know I've struggled with and other teachers struggle with is behavior management, particularly for those students who have a hard time adapting to maybe some of the rules and norms in the classroom. So I was hoping you could give us a little insight.
Sure.
But just so our viewers know a little bit about the experiences you've had. So my understanding is that you were an assistant clinical director for the Drake Institute in Orange County, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then you've also been a behavior interventionist specialist at a school for students who have maybe been transferred out of public schools and need a more controlled environment where there's more support, one-on-one support. And now you're currently lead faculty at Phoenix University, where you talk to students about marriage and family therapists' behavioral issues. Is that right? And in addition to that, you're also working for a nonprofit where you work with adults who might suffer from behavioral or mental issues.
Yes.
Did I get it all?
Yes.
Right. So you're quite experienced in working not only clinical work, but classroom work as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Drake Institute. What did you do there?
At the Drake Institute, I was the assistant clinical director, and we, at that clinic, trained children and adults how to use neuro and biofeedback to work on their focusing problems. And we did that with the neurofeedback machines.
So what does that look like? What does that do exactly?
For a client or a patient, it looks like a video game, and they're focusing on a key point on the computer screen and trying to increase or decrease, depending on their level of severity, their brainwave activity so they can function at a normal rate.
So that seems like it might actually be fun for kids. It's a video game they're playing.
It is a video game type visual that they are doing, but it's really a focusing and attending mental workout.
Okay, and has that been effective for a lot of your clients there?
Yeah, so when I was there, it's very effective treatment. It's an alternative treatment to medication, so
Okay.
parents who are not interested in going that route would choose an alternative like that so they wouldn't have to medicate their children.
Okay.
But with attention deficit disorder, children have a hard time focusing in the classroom, and it looks like behavioral problems, how they manifest it when they're in a classroom setting and they're required to do something that's challenging.
Okay, so I want to add on to that point where you talk about some parents might be concerned with giving their kids medication. So the bio and neural feedback is an alternative.
It is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does the medicine do? Right? What effects does that have on children?
So when someone's prescribed medication, typically it's a stimulant medication because an ADHD person has an underactive brain. So when you give them a stimulant, it speeds up their brainwave activity or their brain activity, so they're functioning at a typical level, the way you and I would be functioning. And so then they can focus and zero in on the things that they need to accomplish.
Okay, so I know you don't prescribe the medication. That would be a medical doctor. But if you were a parent or a teacher, what signs might you see that would give you pause and make you want to make a recommendation?
When someone can't stay seated, when they want to get out of their seat constantly. I know children who will actually break a pencil on purpose or rip up a piece of paper on purpose so they can get up and throw it in the trash can or get up to sharpen their pencil because they need that physical distraction because the work is too challenging for them to stay attending. So they kind of get up out of their seat, oftentimes without permission as well from the teacher.
I know I've experienced that
Yeah.
time and time again. And, reflecting back on my own classroom, I feel badly. I wasn't informed. I didn't know. I thought you're just not following the rules. You're not paying attention. But instead, it's something that it's a physical challenge that they can't overcome.
Right.
Right.
And there are two types of ADHD.
Okay.
So there's the hyperactive impulsive type, and those types of people are more physically active. They will get out of their seat. They will want to run around and do things. You'll see that hyper component to them. And then there's inattentive type ADHD, where people are more daydreamy.
Okay.
Oftentimes girls are inattentive type ADHD, and they kind of get overlooked because they just don't finish their work. They might get through the first and second problem of an assignment and just kind of stop working, but they're quiet and they're not disruptive, and so they just kind of sit there and maybe go unnoticed until the teacher comes around and sees that they haven't done their work. But they do tend to daydream. They'll look around. They'll be in another world, and you'll have to ask them to reattend, but they look really different in the classroom.
That's interesting, right? I think I've experienced both types. So as a teacher, what can I do? Because I know, like I said, teachers have so many different things to deal with. What are some tips or strategies we can use to support students who might be the hyperactive type that want to get out of their seats a lot?
Well, for the hyperactive type student, oftentimes teachers want to put them in the back of the classroom because they do interrupt the learning of other students by getting up, talking. They like to be the class clown and be funny and interact with people and talk out of turn, because that's just a way for them to not attend to what they're doing. It's just part of their diagnosis.
Okay.
But it's best to actually put them in the front of the classroom, because then you can give nice subtle cues and reminders, letting them know when they're doing well, letting them know when they need to reattend to the task, and kind of keeping a constant monitoring of them.
Okay, so keeping them close at hand. All right, what else could we try other than just keeping them close?
Actually making them a helper is a really good idea. I know it sounds counterintuitive to make somebody who might have behavioral issues in the classroom, who might get in trouble, but it's actually adding in a natural element, because you're asking them to get up. You're saying, okay, why don't you come and help me pass out these papers? So they're going to get up in a positive experience versus getting up and getting in trouble.
Oh, so it's sort of like a cueing system that teachers could use. I know this student needs to get up on the regular basis, so let's make it purposeful.
Yes.
Right? Timing that into your day, like in 5, 10, every 20 minutes, I'm going to give this person a job. Oh, I like that. So it's more of a positive reinforcement than a negative.
It is. And, you know, they often have self-esteem issues, and they think that they're not good. They think that they're bad kids. And if the teacher can give them an experience in the classroom where they're good, then they'll be happier when they go to school every day.
Because who wants to go somewhere and be miserable every day?
Right.
Which I could see could lead to so many problems. I'm going to act out even more, maybe even outside of the classroom, or I can become unhappy and not want to go to school at all.
Right.
I see that being difficult for them to have long-term academic success, if that's the case. That's a good one. Okay, so keeping them close to you and giving them tasks. Anything else that you could suggest?
You know, oftentimes they can't focus for sustained periods of time.
Okay.
And so chunking things up into smaller assignments for them, saying, let's see if you can get through the first 5 problems, and then I'll come and check on you.
Okay.
So that they don't look at 20 problems and get really overwhelmed with 20 things that I have to do. And if it's just, okay, the first 5, and then she's going to come back and check on me, then you're breaking it up for them. Okay, you did a great job on these first 5. Let's see about number 6 through 10. Let's see how you do on those. Well, I wonder if you can get those done in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And so setting up small, achievable goals for them.
I love that. That makes sense. Looking at, sometimes even myself, I look at a list of things I have to do and I get overwhelmed. Right? So even as adults, we can self-reflect and self-monitor and say, I'm going to need a break after every so long, so then we can teach those skills to students as well. Right? So I'm thinking about a teacher. Maybe they can't check on them after every 5 problems, but maybe we can say once you're done with 5, you can go get a pencil or get a water, since we know that's something they need. Great. Those are wonderful things. So keeping them close, giving them jobs, and breaking down bigger assignments into small chunks. I'm really glad that you could sit down with us today. I love the fact that you have not only the clinical experience, but the classroom experience. And I think you provide a great service for us teachers. And I hope that we can reach out to you and talk to you more in the future. If somebody wanted to get into contact with you, where could they reach you?
They can email me at ctmft@yahoo.com.
This is great. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Danielle Moore with Teaching One More, along with Christine Teramoto. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me and contact me at danielle@teachingonemore.org. Together and competent problem solvers.